was about European education in Tanganyika. This one is of some notes and comments on the contact between Africans and white people in Africa. I give them because for those living at a distance, it's very often difficult to appreciate the problems we meet here on the spot. The work of a regular mission station is often confined to one place where the African is brought into contact with concentrated Christian teaching. The problem arises when he begins to move away. Being at Arusha has brought this home to us in a very real way. The towns are the danger points where black and white mix. The life of a rural African is entirely different from that of a town dweller. At home he's surrounded by his own people. There are certain traditions which hold good quite apart from the mission teaching, and when he leaves to work in another place, all these are left behind. Sometimes he goes as a houseboy and follows his bonner, his master, wherever he may go. This means a complete break with his own people. Clerks are generally concentrated in townships, for there they find work in government positions and in other offices. They too are cut off from their own people. Next door to the school where we live is the camp of the KAR, the King's African Rifles, where some 200 soldiers are stationed. These men are recruited from various parts of this territory and some from neighboring territories. So their environment is entirely new. In some cases they brought their families. In other cases they have been cut off from their own people completely. Chance or regular labor means an exit from the villages. It may be thought that the influence of mission stations can be carried to these places, but there's almost an unsurmountable difficulty. There's the language. There's the difference of custom. Their traditions are left behind. Labor and working conditions are so different. And what strikes me as being almost worst of all, there are the enormous differences in the divisions of the church. There are some who are Anglican, some who are Presbyterian, some who are Methodist, some who are high Anglican, some who are low Anglican. And all these Christians find it hard to worship together when they come in contact with each other in some new township where there is little leadership. One is amazed at the force of these broken contacts and traditions. They make for irregularities. In some cases, punishments follow and imprisonment. And in many cases, the creating of habitual criminals has occurred. It's one of my privileges to visit the prison at Arusha. And one day, I found that out of about 100 prisoners, some 20 only were first offenders. The others were well on the way to becoming habitual criminals. Civilization, together with all the good that it has brought, is responsible for this new phase, which breeds discontentment among those who do not return to their villages, and also among those who do return. I've been very struck by a book which was written by Phillips called The Bantu Are Coming. It's written chiefly about South African natives, and it shows the rise and move forward of the Bantu peoples in Africa. Whether we want it or not, they are progressing, and the challenge of the Christian church is to face up to the educated African and so to guide his outlook that he will lead those who are still illiterate into a sane acceptance of the white man's way of life, not a mere mimicry of it. Mere restriction will not do this. But responsibility is on the white to give a line of direction which will not make this last state worse than the first. There are those who stand firm, and I have found some rare African Christian characters who are keen to lead their fellow countrymen in the best way. But the townships present a problem which is far more acute than that of isolated mission stations. For there, white and black meet on business terms. This side of mission outlook provides almost untouched scope for work and thought and contact with other nationalities. May the education of white children, which has been entrusted to us, not fail our own people in the days to come. These are some notes on European education in Tanganyika and East Africa. Some of you at home who take schools for granted may care to hear something of the tackling of European education in an African territory. The missionary task has so often been directed toward the colored races of a tropical territory that the increasing number of white children who are growing up in these places has been overlooked by those at home. As missionaries, settlers, government officials and others migrated to East Africa, so the problem of white children arose. For many it is impossible to send them home. The bishop was arrived at this and founded a school in 1928. This was a farm school and served its purpose for the time being. Various nationalities have done this in Tanganyika since. Later the question of accommodation and finance began to be more involved, and the government, under the leadership of Sir Stuart Symes, formulated a scheme whereby a school should be built at Arusha, and the diocese was asked to manage it. That's why I'm at Arusha now, having been seconded from native work for the time being, though as the governor said when asking me to take over this, the natives will still be reached through this new channel. The whole matter of relationship between black and white is one which is of greatest importance, and the mission of the Christian Church is only half done if approached from one side. By working apart, other Europeans and missionaries are creating a split between life and religion, which the African finds hard to understand. If they work together, an impact can be made on the whole of African life, which can be a tremendous force for good. Every European, whether he knows it or not, is a living witness to something, and his influence is felt for better or for worse. The Arusha School, then, is a strategic job, and I see more than ever the possibilities ahead of it. We're a normal school of boys and girls. The government has given us a splendid building, which is equipped well and has all the modern conveniences, such as electric light and good water, which make for a healthy life in Africa. And Arusha itself, being 4,000 feet above sea level, is a delightful place to live. We've had the joy of planting and laying out grounds. Hundreds of trees have been planted, and as almost anything grows there, it is now looking a beautiful spot. Directly in front is a large ornamental semicircle, rich with cannas and generally a blaze of color, and surrounded by a crazy pavement. This was drawn and planned by the boys in the geometry class. The school is so built that the girls have a large quadrangle round which they live. Their dormitories and rooms are there, and the boys have another similar quarter. Then the common rooms, classrooms, and dining halls are all accessible to both sides. In sports, we play normal school games: hockey, football, cricket, tennis, and hope someday to have a swimming bath. It was interesting last year to have inter-school sports in which German, Greek, Dutch, and English children competed. Most of ours are English, though we have a few other nationalities. We use the beautiful little church at Arusha as our chapel. In a country where servants have been many and colored, we have had to have some tightening up, for children so easily learn to be precocious and superior in a way which spoils them. The home life of a school is an antidote to that, and we see good spirits growing. The standard of work is very fair, but many are suffering from not having had enough earlier school life. We work for the Cambridge local examinations, and results have been so far quite encouraging. Examinations have their hours of powers here too. For one girl, when asked in a hygiene lesson what a parasite was, said, "It's one of those things used for jumping out of aeroplanes." With all this, a clean family home is being built up. And as one thinks of the tremendous issues ahead of many Africans, thanks to the years of the church and the work of civilization offers, apart from the direct evangelistic work of the church, there is a great contribution which can be given in the building up of Christian character, which will play a critical part in Africa tomorrow. As I write, the members of the staff are scattered for a breather during 2 weeks' short holiday. We arranged it so because the children come from such great distances. And Miss Vance, who is matron, Miss Westgate and Miss Reed, together with Mr. Fotherhead, and I know join in sending greetings. For a short time each midday, we meet in the staff room